Welcome back to listening to Ecstasy. You could have found me, actually I would have been mortified at the time if you did, crawling around the filthy streets of the East Village in the 1980s and 90s. I might as well have been on my hands and knees. In shock, really, not really knowing what inner demon was driving me there to put myself in harm's way in order to scrounge up some cocaine. And then scoring some, only to suffer what would feel like an enslaving invasion of something that would take over like a lunatic dictator, shrieking commands at me for weeks. I'd leave the house to go shopping, and I'd hear it calling to me from back upstairs. Just where do you think you're going without me? And for what? For an instantaneous exhilaration that lifted me up and soon just as quickly threw me down, leaving me hungry for more. I was quickly falling headlong off the cliff, and I realized I had to choose between cocaine and me, and fast. But in trying to give it up, I didn't want to give up all it gave me. So first, on my own one day, I did some internal work around it, using the Gestalt technique, dialoguing with myself between the part of me that needed to give this up and the part of me that loved cocaine. I asked that part what it got out of the high. It just soothes me. It gives me this feeling of strength, confidence, right here and here. Because I really feel kind of empty and hollow there. The coke buoys me up. It bolsters me. So I realized that moment that the urge to do something to soothe and bolster myself was not a bad thing in itself. It was a healthy impulse towards self-care that I let get diverted into cocaine use. And while all this pointed to some work I needed to do in therapy, in the meantime, just on a biochemical level, I needed a quick and healthy way to soothe myself and bolster my being. So I made a deal with myself. If I stopped the coke, I would find such a solution. And that, children, is how Charlie became a chocoholic. I started experimenting with very dark chocolate, including one night I ate a couple of cubes of baker's chocolate to see the effect. It tasted awful, but it worked. As you may know, dark chocolate contains mildly antidepressant qualities that can also energize you. So in time, I graduated from eating chocolate as a candy for the taste to eating it as a medicine for the effect. Chocolate with 75 or 85% cocoa content or higher has no downside, at least for me, and continues to improve my mood and my libido. Since then, I've learned I'm not alone in my discovery. There are books about this, and there's that old cover of High Times magazine. Plus, some people will tell you that chocolate and magic mushrooms can catalyze each other. Some people like me. Years later, with MDMA, I found that this too gave me a similar feeling of being bolstered in a gentle, non-addictive, heart-centered way. Cocaine for me was unsustainable, but eating a couple of ounces of chocolate every day, or doing MDMA 4 or 5 times a year, that's quite doable. And for me, sufficient. And using them has, over time, all but eradicated any desire in me for blow. A great ending to what could have been a very sad story. Thanks.